I'm Bambi Francisco with this segment of Lessons for Entrepreneurs, and I'm speaking with Adeo Ressi. He founded TheFunded. Adeo, TheFunded is your 7th startup.
Correct.
So you've been at this for a long time, entrepreneurship. So
correct.
Yeah,
about 15 years.
I'm sure you've learned a lot along the way. So for the Vader community, can you offer up 3 pieces of advice?
Sure. Number 1 piece of advice, think big. Whenever you start a business, it can never go greater than your greatest ambition. So if you think small to start with, it's guaranteed that your business will be small. So using TheFunded as an example, I saw that the entire venture community and the relationship between CEOs and venture capitalists was essentially broken. And so my ambition from day one, regardless of money, I'm not talking necessarily about money, was to fix the global relationship between CEOs and venture capitalists, which is a $60 billion industry. But that's a big ambition. So think big is number 1.
Mm-hmm. Any other pieces of advice?
Yes. Number 2, I would say start scrappy. You certainly, you can always get big, but if you don't start scrappy, you have a huge expense to do something that may be out of line with what you're trying to do. So if you get really nice offices and you hire an assistant and you do all these things.
Spend foolishly sometimes.
Well, it's not even spending foolishly. It's always difficult to scale back a business to the needs.
True.
It's a lot easier to scale forward. Mm-hmm. So start scrappy would be number 2. And then number 3 would be before you take a dollar, nickel, cent in financing, know the game. It is a very advanced game, and a lot of people start a company with no sense of what the rules are. In fact, I spoke with a major acquirer, a big holding company that buys late-stage companies, and he said, I'm buying companies for hundreds of millions of dollars, and the CEOs often are clueless about the game. And so,
what does that mean, the game? What's
money, raising money, dealing with investors, all this stuff is a game. Whether you're doing it in the public markets where I've been or you're doing it privately where I've been as well, it's all a game, and you better know the rules going in, because learning it along the way is not a win-win situation.
Just 1 or 2 rules.
Well, it depends on the stage, but dealing with angel investors, for example, communication rules is probably the number 1 place to start. What is the vernacular? Easy example, maybe means no in the venture world. So when you hear someone say maybe, it means no.
Yeah, don't keep knocking on the door.
The market size being too small means they haven't done their research and you didn't explain it well to them. So, but the vernacular in the public markets are different too. So know the vernacular, know the terms before you go in, but more importantly, know the rules of the game.
So what did you maybe you touched on it, but on your website, I do believe that you said that you had a bad funding experience, which led you to create TheFunded. So what was that experience, and how are you better for that experience?
Well, that's a good question. In fact, that probably would be my worst experience. I'm a fairly seasoned entrepreneur, so you would think that as you go through life and achieve more success, that you would be treated better and have more opportunity, but in fact, that did not happen. So as I went through life and achieved more success, I found myself in a greater bind as a result. And basically, it got so bad that I was essentially threatened to be fired from the company that I founded, and may I add, was one of the largest investors. For most of the company's history, I was the largest cash investor. And I found myself about to be fired
by the VCs?
By the board of directors that I helped to create, etc. And I felt for a very unjustified means. And in the end, I didn't get fired. But that really led me to believe that something was broken and I didn't know the rules of the game, because they were playing the game and I was just trying to do the right thing for the company. And I realized that their game is when the company stumbles, fire the CEO. And my game was when the company stumbles, you get back up and run through the brick wall that stands in your way. So we were playing different games, and I should have known the rules before I stepped into the playing field.
Is that your biggest setback then, or failure as an entrepreneur, would you say?
Well, you know, failure and entrepreneurialism go hand in hand. So that was probably the one that
you remember the most.
Certainly.
That led to TheFunded, though, too.
Correct. In fact, I said, you know, making the rules more obvious and knowing who the good players are and the bad players are should be part of the game. And in fact, it's not. It's a big mystery right now. So, I mean, it's like, imagine playing sports and the Yankees come on and all the players are doing, you have no idea, are they good, are they bad?
Right.
I mean, that's what the VC world, and you don't know the rules. What's a home run? I don't know. What is a home run?
Okay. Thank goodness for you almost being fired. But you weren't. And then TheFunded was born.
Yeah, well,
anyway.
I learned a lot how not to be fired in the company you found. So if anyone wants to know.
Don't be fired from TheFunded. Anyway, thank you so much for sharing your advice. It's really, I'm sure everyone appreciates it. I know I do. I've been speaking with Adeo Ressi. He's the founder of TheFunded. I'm Bambi Francisco.